I've got a pocket full of dice, and I'm ready to make up a podcast.
You have a mediocre amount of dice. You want to see dice?
All right. We're going to have a dice-off first thing.
First, dude, I've got... All right.
Well, I didn't bring my whole collection. I have over 300 dice. I chose one of each denomination. So I have a 6-sider, a 4-sider. Well, he's throwing his giant chainmail dice bag on the desk with my aloe plant that we talked about in the pre-show that isn't going to make it into the show. That's a figure. That's not a die.
That's true. Ooh.
Well, while you're fucking with your dice collection, I'm going to issue my statement of intent because I wrote a statement of intent for this. I told Damon we were going to do a podcast, but I didn't tell him anything about it. So if he sounds like the prepared one, you'll just know that he's much better rolling with it under fire than I am. But my statement of intent for this podcast is as follows. I intend to make a podcast about randomness in all its forms, but especially randomness used for what has been termed random reality. That is, the use of randomness for real-life choices. Sometimes I call it experiential gambling with like events and experiences instead of money. So that's my idea for the topic of the show.
All right.
I think that everything in the show is going to be determined, or as much as possible is going to be determined randomly. I will introduce us, or me. Do you want to introduce yourself, or you want me to introduce you?
Go for it. Let's let you run the show.
Okay, because he really has no idea what is going to happen. I am your host, Misha, and can I call you my sidekick? My sidekick is Damon. Damon, say hello.
Hello again.
Yeah, and we're doing this because we went to see Violent J live, and in the car on the way home, I said, hey, I want to do a podcast, and he shrugged and said, sure.
Actually, over the last 3 years, this is probably the 4th or 5th time you've asked me to do a podcast.
So I just whittled you down.
No, I've just always said yes, and then nothing happened.
Because I didn't have a statement of intent before.
Right.
That's what brings it all back around.
That's right.
So the first order of business for this podcast, I don't think anybody's gonna... Who's there?
No, I was just order business.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you didn't have a gavel in your hand.
No, I don't have a gavel in hand. Oh!
I wonder if they have one downstairs at the flea market. Oh, yeah. There's our gavel. Now we can come to order.
All right.
So I don't think anyone's going to listen to episode 1 unless if our podcast takes off and gets really popular, then people will come back and listen to this to see how it started. But I doubt that will happen. So it really doesn't matter what we say. But the first thing I think we need to do is pick a title for the show. And of course, in the spirit of randomness, we must do this randomly. I have a few ideas.
Okay.
You can veto some if you don't like them. If you can add to the list, I'll tell you some of the ones that I have in mind so far. That we'll make a list, and then we will roll for which title to use.
I think we should write 3 lists of individual words, and then roll for each word.
For each word.
Yeah.
You want to get super jiggy with it.
Why not? Let's fucking
do it. Why not? Let's fucking do it. All right. So, do you want to have parameters or literally just list of random words?
No.
Like adjective, noun.
So it'd be like, number 1 would be the.
The.
An. Premium. I don't know. Like in a podcast title, what are first words?
This.
Right?
I'm trying to think of some of the podcasts I listen to. The is a lot of them.
Yeah, most of them. But
we could have
your.
Welcome. You don't like that one?
No.
So you don't want to get that jiggy.
I mean,
if we're going to do 6-siders, we need one more.
Spelunking.
All right, and then our second column shall be...
the middle word.
Right, which maybe should have some, one of these, at least one of these words should have something to do with what the podcast is about.
So
maybe.
Random would be
random. Chance. Aleatoric.
What does that mean?
Glad you asked.
Sounds like a bird.
Alea is the Latin word for die. So when Caesar crossed the Rubicon with his army, this was a big risk because if you're a conquering general, you could come back to Rome for like a meeting without your army. But if you cross the Rubicon with your army, that means
the Rubicon is like a red convention.
The Rubicon is a river.
I know what it is.
Okay, but I'm glad you're playing Ed McMahon.
Yep.
And for our younger listeners,
yes, sir.
For our younger listeners, that's just some funny guy that used to be on TV.
The fat guy on the couch.
Right.
Yeah.
So thanks for being my guy on the couch.
Hey, thanks for omitting the word fat.
I'm body positive. So at least I'm positive that I have a body.
So what do we got? We got.
So you're already bored with the history lesson.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Go on.
No, Alea is the Latin word. So when Caesar crossed the Rubicon, he was recorded as having said, "Alea iacta est," which is Latin for "the die is cast." Like, hey, the dice are out of my hand. What happens happens.
Latin?
They did speak Latin back then when Latin was an alive language.
I never really thought about.
So anyhow, since Alea is the Latin word for dice, Aleatoric is used as a synonym for random. It was popularized by the people who were doing like experimental music composition in the 70s, like John Cage and those kind of people. Like who's that guy, Reich? Why can't I think of Reich's
Hitler?
first name now? No,
not the Reich. Okay.
You Godwined our first episode. I can't believe it. All right.
So why did they speak Latin? I always pictured them speaking Italian and like being like.
Well, Italian descended from Latin.
Right, but wouldn't Caesar like, it's the goods.
They probably spoke Latin with an Italian accent. Aleatoric is a synonym for random.
Julius.
Let's just okay. You were the class clown, weren't you?
I mean, I don't know.
All right. So there's our balance. I'll be the nerd with the words, and you can be the guy who just makes fun of me constantly.
I guess we're doing the standard model where there's the guy who's kind of in charge and has prepared something, and then the idiot who just talks over him.
Oh man, that's so formulaic. We're
really
already not.
But
random.
that's also our relationship, like 98% of the time.
That's true.
So
all right, so we need 3 more middle words.
So okay,
you are gonna have to edit some of this down.
Why?
All right, so we got random, chance, aleatoric. I'm gonna say republic.
Republic.
Just because it's one of the ones that was one of my pet names, had republic in the middle, so I'm gonna throw it in there.
But people are gonna think it's like a Trump podcast if we do that.
Not Republican, Republic. If we roll it and you want to like quit the podcast instantly, that would
nonsense.
Nonsense. Good one. We've already lost like 90% of our listeners.
No, I'm still here.
Okay, good. You're 50% of our listeners right now. Okay, well, one more middle word.
Middle word.
We could say stochastic. There aren't a lot of good synonyms for random.
Oh, is that what we're doing?
Stochastic is one of them.
Sure, fine. Put it on there.
Stochastic. If we get that one, it will no one will ever get our podcast by searching for it. That's just facts.
Yeah.
And then we need a final one.
Podcast.
Good one.
Reality.
How about hour? Not that the show's going to be an hour, but like
it might be more than
the
an hour.
Aleatoric hour.
At this rate.
Got any other ones? Let me look at some of my preconceived ideas. Explorers, good one. Adventurers, or is that too derivative?
I like it. It matches the dice.
Adventures, and how about one of my ones on my list previously was a chance discussion, conversation. Yeah, that's not really good, is it?
Kind of boring.
All right, shuffle.
Shuffle.
Oh, shuffle was one of my other synonyms for random.
No. Well, it's the.
How about something grandiose?
Theater.
Spelled R-E, of course.
Yeah.
Theater.
Theater.
All right. So we got 3 lists of 6 words each.
Right.
This is an example of show, don't tell. We're showing you how to do random reality instead of telling you. I'm going to roll a 6-sided die 3 times.
Why? I don't get to roll at all?
Yeah, you get to roll. Do you want to roll first, or do you want me to roll first?
We
Or do
should
you want to
roll for
who
who
rolls
rolls
Roll. Do you want to do a roll off?
Yeah, for every roll, we have to do a roll off. We can both roll, and then each roll a d20 with the higher number winning. It'd be fun.
If you roll higher, we take your roll. If I roll higher, what if we tie?
Then we roll off again.
I think if we tie, we should put both words in that place.
No, if we tie, we start over.
I really like the both words idea. It's it's unlikely that we'll tie on a 20.
We'll roll for it. Evens is roll a sixer. Evens is include both.
Odds is roll again. Even include both. I got a 4 for the record.
Oh, I thought it was a 6.
It was a 4.
See, that's why dots suck.
I mostly do dots. Yeah, so we're gonna have some really good like angry discussions about what kind of dice are the coolest. Because I do have a full set of polyhedral dice, but I mostly collect 6-siders, and almost all of them have pips instead of digits.
I prefer numbers with the 1 replaced by Satan's face.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Or as a skull and crossbones in there somewhere.
Yeah, I have one with a skull and crossbones for the 1. I don't have one with a devil face for 1, so now
I have a Vault of
you've
Midnight
one-upped me.
Somewhere.
I just said one-upped. All right, it's going to go in our lexicon. Yeah. All right. First word, I got a 3, you got a 5, so it's between premium and your.
All right.
And I got a 4.
15.
So it is your. This, because it is for you, the listener.
And that's Y-O-U-R, not Y-O-R-E.
Which it could have been. The podcast of your. No, this is your Y-O-U-R because we are here for you, the listener, if we ever get any. Which I doubt. So
don't neg yourself.
I'm allowed to neg myself. That's why I'm a dandy, not a fop.
Right.
3. I got a 5, you got a 3, so it's between nonsense and aleatoric. People listening to this already know what the name of the podcast is because once we put this out, it will have a title on it. I got a 5.
12.
Oh, I was so hoping for aleatoric, but it is, what did you get, a 3? Oh, it is, you had aleatoric. Awesome, I got my wish. Your aleatoric, which remember means random.
Learnt.
I got a 4, you got a 2. It is between explorers and reality, which either one of those is a win, so I'm happy already. 3.
2.
So it's between hour or reality.
Oh wait.
It was already between.
It was already. You're supposed to roll a d20.
Sorry, what was it between?
It
was between reality and explorers.
Correct. And
so I was supposed to roll a 20. Yeah. Sorry, I got a 4.
19.
And yours was, what did you roll on the 6?
2.
So it was reality. Your aleatoric reality.
I kind of like that.
Is now the name of this podcast. And that's how
it's a pirate. It's a pirate acronym. Yar.
A pirate. So piracy is another thing that Damon and I both have lots of knowledge and experience with, which we may or may not ever get into. It all depends on how the dice roll. So now after, what are we, 20 minutes in? And we can finally announce, welcome to your aleatoric reality. The place where you get lots of random stuff and ideas about. So we got to specify. A lot of people
stuff
say
and nonsense.
A lot of people say
the word stuff should always be followed by and nonsense.
It is hereby declared as a rule, stuff and nonsense. Anytime anyone on the show says stuff, if they don't say and nonsense after it, you may barge in and correct them. It is your duty to barge in and correct them. Okay, so we have a name. We need a theme song. And there's a couple. It's going to be a different theme song every time.
Oh, we have to write music now?
Well, no, we're gonna pick one that we can add in later. It can be something that we've recorded. It could be something that either one of us individually has recorded, or it could be something public domain because I don't want to pay royalties. And we can make a list and roll. You're tired of this already, I can tell.
No, I just think this administrative function should be better done offline.
But that's the whole point, is to like let people in on the creative process.
Okay. All right. You sold me. It's easy.
Okay. So we're gonna randomly determine a theme song.
All right. So let's see. Do you have any D12s?
I do have a D12.
Okay. Roll it.
It's an 8.
Okay. So what note is that?
In what scale?
No. I mean, you've got 12.
Yeah, but
You've got 12 notes
starting on C or starting on A?
Starting on A.
In the chromatic scale starting on A, the 8th note is an E.
Yep. Okay.
So what does that tell us?
It tells us as the first note of the theme song. Now roll for the second note of the theme song.
Oh, all right. A 6, which would be a D.
All right. Well, wow. All right. Do it.
How
Keep
many?
going.
Should we roll for how many notes are in the theme song?
Yes. Roll a D20 for that.
I think it should be like double dice because we want an average.
Do whatever you want.
All right. We're gonna have 4 notes in our theme song.
That's it?
I rolled a 4.
It's a shitty song.
I could have rolled a 1 if it was a D20. Should I roll 3D4?
Yes. No, 3D6.
3D6. All right. Now I have 11 notes.
11 notes is a good number of notes.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We got an E, a D.
We should have rolled for how many dice to roll.
Don't get into
Everything of a question mark.
Don't get fractal, my friend.
No, I think we should get fractal. I think anytime a question is asked, the default answer should be to make it some kind of fucking table.
I can't argue with that.
That's right.
But a 4 then would be a C, right? We're just going down the scale. Yeah, 4 would be a C.
Yep. So far, we're actually in key.
A 12. 12's an A flat.
No, 12 would be
Or a G sharp.
Would be a G.
No, 12 would be a G sharp. 1 is A.
Oh, 12. Right. Yes,
Yeah.
sorry. I
All
was
right,
thinking
so
11
G
for no reason.
sharp. Fate is punishing me for saying I was smart earlier.
Yep.
And then a 7, which would be an E flat. Or a D sharp. I started doing sharps, so I should stay on sharps.
This is going to be a terrible song.
Yeah, that's what aleatoric music is like. If we ever talk about aleatoric music, it's mostly unlistenable.
I was in a band like that.
We could say every...
Some would say, yeah.
Every band.
I've written a few ditties in my time, thank you.
9 is going to be an F. A 1 would be an A. A 4 is a D. No, a 4 is a C, sorry. I don't have the keyboard actually in front of me right now. A 7 is D sharp. A 1 is an A. And an 11. 11's a G. We started on an E, end on a G. We've got the notes of our theme song have been determined.
Yep. But we haven't determined their order.
What is the order?
I know, I'm just kidding.
But if we wanted to, we could go to random.org and put these in as a list and randomize the list. Which is
I don't like the
tool that I'm quite
random.org
fond of.
thing. I don't like the...
Why not?
Because I don't believe that anything online that says it's random is truly random.
That's their whole business model. Like, they sell random numbers to statisticians.
I mean, it's as random as... Well, it's probably more random than a die is, right? Because a die actually could... But the fact that every die is cast with a different percentage for each number. So part of the randomness in using dice, and part of the reason I like that, is because dice are imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
And thereby there's an inherent random... Like, if we sat here and wrote tables, I don't know if you've done this. I have actually done this.
I have.
And figured out what the median, mean, and average of your die roll is for that die. it is pretty consistent and inconsistent from die to die.
Right. Yeah. Different dice will favor very, very slightly.
Yes.
Favor different sides.
And just in case you didn't catch what I was talking about, that means you sit there and you roll a die 1,000 times and write down every number that it gives you,
or type it into a spreadsheet.
Yeah, and then figure out what the averages are.
If it's in a spreadsheet, you have a lot easier time doing the mathematics of it, which is why I don't recommend writing it down when you do that.
Well, or the fact that it's 1,000 times kind of sucks too.
Right.
I mean, because anything less than that, even like 100, it doesn't.
It's right. It's does.
Yeah.
The differences in probabilities are so fine that you need a very large data set to see it.
I mean, 1,000 is ridiculous, but also if you want,
it's like the minimum. Like it would be better to do 10,000, but
exactly,
neither you nor I have that.
But I've known guys that are like, "Oh, I rolled this 100 times." Well, you got started. Good job, champ. You are nearly started on that.
Right. So after the theme song played, which we'll just assume that it did, because you're gonna splice it in later after we.
Well, we have to hire an orchestra.
We'll need to roll for instrumentation. No, well, the reason
table for instrumentation. What instrument should the theme song be played on?
I don't think we're gonna do that right now.
No, do it. I want a table.
Well, because you
asked a question.
This touche, mon frere. So instrumentation.
Bassoon.
You're just gonna list individual instruments.
Yes.
And the theme song is going to be played only on that instrument solo.
No, we're going to roll a d6 to see how many instruments.
Okay. I'll add piano.
Oboe.
I'll say flute.
Double bass.
Double bass.
Get that low end in there.
I'll say double trouble. No.
Double dragon.
How about drum?
No, I don't want to. I don't want to pitch drums.
All right. Xylophone.
Sure.
Marimba. Let's do or vibes.
Vibes.
I love the vibes. Don't you?
Do we have to roll a percussion matter?
No.
Okay.
So
should we roll for? If we should have to roll for it. No.
D6 for how many instruments?
How many instruments? 4.
4 instruments.
4 instruments.
This is hey, here's a case where the random.org list randomizer will come in handy, because if we just start rolling, we're going to roll things we already rolled for, and we're going to have to roll again, and that's stupid. So I'm going to go to random.org, which is one of the resources.
Do you work for random.org?
I don't, but I love
random.org, sponsor of...
They do don't say, we will take sponsorships eventually if anybody wants us to, but we don't have it now. But I'm just referring listeners
if ever there was going to be a sponsor for this podcast, it would be random.org.
Maybe we should approach them.
Yes.
But before we do that, I'm going to give them a free shout out.
Okay.
Because I think it's a really good tool. There are a number of free tools on there. I've never paid a dime to use random.org.
Do they have any Lord of the Rings name generators?
They have some generators. I haven't.
I'm sure they do.
Done
That's like the 1990s thing to have. Like what is your Lord of the Rings name?
Well, now we have to find one of those and give ourselves Lord of the Rings names. Remind me to do that after we do the list randomizer. So you go to random.org. You go to the free services for lists and strings and maps. It's like the 4th section of services. And you go to list randomizer. This allows you to type in. Again, this is completely free of charge for anyone.
You only need to type in abbreviations.
Bassoon, piano.
I mean, I love the double reeds.
Oboe, I do too. I'm a big fan of double reeds. Flute. I love bass clarinet too. That's only a single reed, but it's still a good one. Double bass.
Side thing.
And vibes.
Did you know in the song Mamas and the Papas, California Dreamin', what instrument is the solo?
It sounds like flute.
You're mostly right. It is a bass flute.
A bass flute.
Which has like a weird turn around.
Oh, I've seen those, yeah.
The Mamas and the Papas were like just some little druggy kids living in Greenwich Village or whatever this happened. And And they wrote this song based, and it's literally just a diary of what happened to two of the members one day, where they walked outside and they were cold, because they were from California and they didn't have proper attire, and so they went to a church, and then like the priest didn't kick them out because they pretended to pray.
Yeah, a lot of people think that line is "I began to pray," and I've seen people like fervently singing along. I began to pray, like they sing.
Pretend to pray. Yeah, like Mama Cass was like, wait, no, hold up. That's the line? But anyway, so what happened was they recorded this for this other guy's album. And he was going to release it on the album.
Uh-huh.
And then they like got their own record deal. And they're like, hey, I wrote this fucking song and I think we want to use it for our album. Is that cool? And he's like, yeah, that's great. What he didn't realize was they then deleted him.
And just kept the bass flute solo.
No. So he sang lead on the song.
Oh, yeah?
And played harmonica over the bridge, over the solo bridge, right? And they deleted both.
Oh, so they just got rid of his harmonica solo and added their own bass flute solo.
And walked down the hall where like some jazz guy was, and he walked in, he's like, oh, this is definitely a job for bass flute. Grabbed the bass flute, one take.
Nice.
No, he didn't even ask what key. He was just like, listen to it. He's like, all right, yeah, I've got 5 minutes. Anyway.
Cool. Have you heard Lizzo play flute? She's really good.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Does she play flute?
Yeah. She's
Flute is
trained.
an
She's classically
interesting-
trained in flute. So's Andre 3000.
Really?
Yeah. Flautist.
I mean, the only flute playing I've ever really appreciated was Jethro Tull.
Ian Anderson is not trained. He's kind of a hack, but it works
That's
for
why
him.
I think
it's like rough and bluesy.
It's
That's
rock.
his whole. Yeah, it's rock.
He
rock
plays
flute.
like harmonicas are done.
Love Ian Anderson. I love Jethro
Yep.
Tull.
Most of the time. Thick as a Brick is actually good.
A lot of their stuff is really,
No,
really
but I'm
good.
saying, like,
I'm a
that's-
huge Jethro Tull fan.
People
I'll come out
hate
and
Thick
say
as a
it.
Brick because it's a 60-minute song.
Well, there's a
No,
lot
no,
of there's a lot. I
60
mean, there's a
minutes.
lot of nonsense. That is not an album that I would pick out if I were introducing someone to Jethro Tull for sure.
No, Aqualung.
Yeah, I mean, War Child's great. Songs from the Wood is great. Benefit is great. They've got a lot of great albums. Heavy Horses. But we're off track here. We gotta like get our.
Oh, so I shouldn't go talk about how Tony Iommi was in Jethro Tull?
You always talk about how Tony Iommi was in Jethro Tull
That's
for
one of
like
my favorite
one
things.
gig.
He's dressed as a scarecrow. Anyway, go on.
All right. So we've alienated every listener under 45 at this point. But we're going to take our list of 6.
I thought I was vamping while you typed this in.
No, I typed it hours ago. And
right.
we'll take, since I rolled a 4, we're going to take the top 4 on the list, which are oboe, flute, vibes, and piano.
Whoa. So it just picked 4 of the 6.
No, it randomized the whole list of 6, and I just took them in order, the first 4. It's procedurally valid.
I guess that's okay.
It's procedurally
All right,
valid.
I see your point.
Because we could like take a scissors and cut these out of the list and put them in a hat and pull them out one by one. The problem with rolling at this point is that it doesn't eliminate previously rolled choices.
Except if you have a 6-sided, 5-sided, 4-sided, 3-sided, 2-sided die.
Which we don't.
Are you sure about that?
Well, you do have your chainmail sack of dice, so I can't say I'm 100% sure. I'm pretty sure you don't have a 5-sider. Is this a 5-sider?
It is a 5-sider.
You do have a 5-sider. Well, look at that. I just rolled what did I roll? A 3 on a 5-sided die.
Let's get all the guys out here.
All right. Damon has a ridiculous assortment of various polyhedrals. So Damon, rather than randomizing the list, Damon would prefer to roll a successive smaller and smaller dice.
Yes, I would.
Fewer
Sorry, I'm
vertices,
off
fewer
mic.
edges, fewer faces.
6, 5. We need a 6-sided die, a 5-sided die, and a 4-sided die. That gives us
6, 5, 4, and then
3,
3.
2.
We don't need to.
Yeah, we do.
No, because we're only doing 4.
But if we were to do the full spectrum, if we had rolled...
If we wanted to if we didn't want to take a millisecond to do it on random.org, we could randomize the entire list just with dice.
I just don't like using the computer for this, man.
I generally agree with you. I'm strongly on the side of using dice over computer randomness, but for certain tasks, and I don't know, maybe you're just a Luddite on this issue, but for certain tasks, I find that random.org is the best tool for the job.
When doing chaos magic, one should stay in the realm of the physical.
But my laptop is physical.
I just don't like using computers to do magic.
Fair, although Sigil Engine is a great tool.
Fuck that. No. If you can't draw your own goddamn sigil...
You can, but if that's
You can't
all
jerk
you
off
can
to
do, if that's all you can do, then your toolbox is limited. Similarly, if Sigil Engine is the only thing you use, you're also limiting yourself.
There are things in life that I use computers for, which is almost all of them. Right? When performing magic of any kind, and I guess I'm making a declaration now that I consider any random reality to be a form of chaos magic.
I agree.
And or just fun, right? But I think using physical objects is a requirement. And I want to state that as our first rule. Second rule.
I don't know if I would call it a rule, because I generally agree with you. Like 99%, I am on the side of dice over computer randomness.
The computer random. It's not.
Okay, I'm gonna humor you, and
Don't
I'm gonna
humor
use
me.
because I agree with you in principle.
You can concede.
I don't want to badmouth random.org in case they decide to sponsor us.
No, I absolutely love random.org. I think it's great, but I also think that for I just think it's more important that you roll a die.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put it out there that random.org chose oboe, flute, vibes, and piano
It's a nice ensemble.
as the 4 instruments for our theme song. So, gentle listener out there, if you are musically inclined, I will invite you to make a version of this theme song with oboe, flute, vibes, and piano. They can be synthesized. They don't have to be the real instruments.
Oh, they're absolutely going to be synthesized, no matter what.
So in that case, you don't care about using a computer's fine for that.
Absolutely. I believe technology is...
You don't think music is magic, you're saying?
I think the creation of music is magic, but I don't think the tool is important.
Then why are the tools important for this application?
Because it feels that way.
You're inconsistent, my friend.
That's fine. I'm totally fine with that.
But I will invite whatever listener gives us a version of this with those 4 instruments. We will give you a shout out on the show. We'll link to your, if you have a, I don't know, SoundCloud or whatever promo you want.
I'll buy you lunch.
We will buy you lunch if you give us the random.org version of the theme song. But for our purposes, won't it be hilarious if we get exactly the same instruments? Do you want to roll these, or you're adamant about rolling dice?
Well,
so you roll.
No. You do.
You don't want to get off mic.
Yeah, I
Okay.
keep talking off mic.
See how we need table?
Yep, table.
Damon
good.
gave me shit before we started recording because I was dragging a table over here by the microphone. We need it. So the first instrument shall be
piano,
which is now eliminated from the list of choices. I roll the 5er. And yes, 5-sided dice do exist. Those of you at home saying, 5-sided dice, that's geometrically impossible. It's not. You can look it up. It is not a regular platonic solid, but it is...
No, it's a stretch.
Relatively the probabilities are equal. Yes. I just rolled a 4, which is double bass.
Nice.
That is a difference.
That is a difference.
I will roll the 3-sider with our... 4-sider with our 4 remaining instruments. Mm-hmm. Oh, it went on the floor. Do you count floor rolls
Floors
or not?
don't count.
All right.
Simple
Reroll. We're establishing our ground rules now. It has to be on the
standard
table.
D&D rule.
This isn't D&D.
Doesn't matter. It carries.
All right. I rolled a 3,
Also, that
which is
4-sided
flute.
dice sucks. Yep, go ahead.
And finally, 1 or 2 is bassoon, 3 or 4 is oboe, 5 or 6 is vibes.
Okay.
Drum roll, please. It's a 3 oboe. We got piano, flute, oboe, and double bass.
I think that's a better ensemble.
It's good. I mean, we got a pool of instruments that we both like. I think any arrangement,
like all 6 of those, is good.
Any arrangement was going to be good. But we will do a theme song with piano, oboe, flute, and double bass. We invite the listener to submit one with oboe, flute, vibes, and piano, and you can be our first guest theme songist. Okay, so having dealt with the theme song, I do want to say for future episodes, we do want to have a rotating theme song. If you have a band or are a musician and want to do a theme song, please email us at youraleatoricreality@gmail.com, and we will give you some prompt. Like, we don't just write a theme song and send it to us. We're going to give you some prompts.
Why can't we just have a theme song?
Because it's gonna be different every time.
But part of the random.
I'm gonna die on this hill. I'm not gonna give up on different theme song every time.
All right.
Okay.
Do we have to roll it every time?
No, we're gonna get listeners to send them in.
Oh, we're gonna have listeners.
We are gonna have listeners.
All right.
Yes, sir, we are.
Your optimism has changed since 10 minutes ago when you said.
Next up on the agenda. We're gonna pick a random public domain movie to use as the video for this podcast. Maybe we won't do that this time, but eventually. Well,
how does one present video over audio?
Because you don't, but people also put their podcast on YouTube.
Right.
So you can put the podcast on YouTube with just a static frame that says the name of the show or a picture or whatever. You can do like Joe Rogan does and film yourself recording the podcast and put that. Or this is something we're going to have to roll for, isn't it? Which method we use. But
let's roll to see if we even have this conversation.
I will skip it this time, but eventually I want to choose a video to put on the YouTube
I'll tell you
version.
What, let's do this. When we hit the point where we want to do video, we will establish this. Right now we're doing an audio podcast.
So I am full of crazy, whimsical, and extremely impractical ideas, and Damon is very good at cutting down to what is practical in this moment. Even though he is also whimsical, he is very good at cutting out the fluff.
Yeah.
Cutting out the stuff and nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. There's no video to speak of, so this is a non-starter.
My hat's off to you, my friend.
This is out of scope.
Thank you. So we're not going to do the video.
Yeah, no,
we're going to do
it's a non-starter.
Either a topic show. I think in the future we will have more possibilities, but for today, we're going to have either a topic show or a question and answer show. Which we're going to roll for that, of course.
Wait, so how does a question and answer show work without a third party?
One of us will ask questions of the other, and we'll roll for who's the interviewer and who's the interviewee. But in the future, when this podcast gets like
truth or dare,
no, I have a list of questions that we can roll for which questions to ask.
All right.
And if we ever get any celebrity guests on here, we're going to randomly choose questions.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Like it might be, tell us about the film you're working on now, or it might be, if you could be a dog or a cat, which one would you be and why? Like, I'm seriously, like random questions.
But if they're a cat, I'll be allergic.
They won't actually turn into a cat. It's just a thought experiment. Okay,
so
topic or Q&A.
This one's kind of cool.
I'll roll this, and do you want to choose? You want to set the odds
of what?
Topic or Q&A? I mean, 50-50.
For now? For right now?
Right now.
This minute?
This minute. We can keep it short because we spent so much time on this setup.
Do you have a coin?
I did earlier today, and I don't think I do now.
I'm in favor of a D2, which is any coin.
Funny that you say that, because one of the things that I queued up in case we started talking about dice and coins is somebody is now making a set of dice that are they're shaped like coins. Have you seen these?
Yes, I have seen those.
It's called the flip die. One word, flip die.
Yeah, it's a little sketchy with balls.
There's a little ball. So the inside of the coin is machined so that the ball will like roll around and eventually settle into one of the little holes on the edge,
Roll
like
the fucking die.
the edge of the coin.
Solving a problem that isn't a problem.
That's what I thought when I saw it.
But it is kind of cool.
It's a cool idea. I don't think it's something that I would ever use, but I do think it's a nifty idea.
It doesn't feel as random as a die roll.
Correct. Because you just flip it and then the ball appears in one of the holes.
Well, I mean, again, I'm going to use the word feel here. You know,
You're a touchy-feely guy tonight.
no, I just, there's something about dice that I really enjoy. And I'm going to always go back to them. And you're never going to, there's nothing that's ever going to convince me otherwise. I don't like playing D&D with auto rollers.
Well, that's something that you and I agree on. We both obviously have large dice collections.
Yeah.
Actually, I do have the die that you made. Damon designed and 3D printed a dice with glyphs instead of numbers that I carry around with me, and there's only 2 in existence. He has one, I have one. Maybe we should make this as, like, if we ever have a Patreon,
Yeah,
we could make this as an award.
Yeah,
right?
no, I mean, yeah, it's a good time. Although, if I remade them, I'd take the numbers off. When I made these, each shape has it only has a number of sides conducive to the number of sides, or the number that would be on the face of the die. But I also included a number, which in hindsight, I don't know why I did that.
Well, because you thought some people would think it was unclear which symbol meant which number, so he has a little like subscript that has the number small next to the glyph.
In hindsight, if you're that stupid, it's not for you.
Okay. If you're that stupid, this is another one of our traditions. If you're that stupid, it's not for you.
That's fine. I think that's a fair statement. Like if you don't get it, I'm not going to argue with you about it. It's not for you.
Or what about if like however they interpret it is fine, like for them. Like maybe they think
Absolutely.
Maybe they think the open circle is 1 and the filled circle is 2. You never know. Somebody could think that.
Whatever it means for them is fine.
All right. Well, if we ever get a Patreon, we'll put that die on there as a reward. So,
Actually, I have multiple printed die.
being that you just gave this impassioned speech about dice and why the flip die is not to your liking because it's shaped like a coin, I'm surprised that you asked me if I had a coin for this choice.
All coins are D2s.
Because they are, but I always prefer to roll a 6 and just have it like assign 3 numbers to one choice, 3 numbers to the other choice.
That's fine too. But
All
I
right.
like a D2.
Do you have a coin?
I do not.
All right.
No.
Well, in lieu of a coin,
But you know what I do have? Actually, I do have a coin of sorts. You may flip this pick. There's a guitar pick.
do you think the probabilities are equal on this?
Sure. As equal as
So
any
there's
other
a-
flat surface.
There's a printed side and an unprinted side.
Printed side is 1.
I'm going to say the printed side is the topic and the unprinted side is the Q&A.
All right.
And the pick landed on
Q&A.
it is the unprinted side. We will do a Q&A. So, shall I ask you the questions, Damon, or shall you ask me the questions? Do you want to flip that pick again? You don't want to flip it?
No.
He's making me do all the flipping
I'm
here.
just staying on mic.
So do you want printed side or unprinted side?
I will take printed side.
And does that make you the interviewer?
It gives me my choice.
No, there's no
You can roll for choice.
there's no choice in random reality, my
You
friend.
can roll for choice. You can absolutely roll for choice.
So if it's printed, you get to choose.
Correct.
If it's unprinted, I get to choose.
Correct.
It is printed.
I get to choose.
I protest.
Let's not do it. Just kidding.
That wasn't one of the listed choices.
I was kidding. But also,
I think you're a bit unclear on the concept of random reality here.
No, I was just being funny. Honestly, this dice roll is moot. Because I don't have prepared questions.
Yeah, but I could give you the questions that I have prepared.
They're still your questions.
Fair enough.
I mean,
So I'm the interviewer, is what you're saying.
I think for the sake of this,
De facto, I'm the interviewer because I'm the one who's prepared the questions. All right, well, do some preparation next time. How about it?
dude,
I literally did not tell Damon anything about what this podcast was going to be like before we started recording.
Exactly.
So that's just me busting his balls. All right. Here comes the Q&A segment. How many questions should I ask you? And if I ever ask you how many of something, you're picking which die I should roll.
D6.
All right. 1d6? So it could be only one question?
That's fine with me.
All right. We've gone on long enough. It's 5. You're getting 5 questions, my friend.
5 questions.
All right. And question number 1.
Oh, he's got a boulder.
So because my phone is dead and I had my questions on my phone, I went to ChatGPT and I told it to give me a list of 30 questions.
Oh my God.
30 random, hypothetical, or would you rather questions that friends and family might ask each other for fun. I'm rolling my 30-sided die, which some people call the Morton boulder. And at some point, we'll maybe talk about the story behind that.
We should definitely talk about that. We should dedicate an episode to that.
Your first question, sir, is: would you rather be able to speak any language fluently or play every musical instrument perfectly? Oh, he's thinking. He didn't expect it to be this deep.
Well, no, that's a difficult question, and I'll walk you through it.
Sure.
Practically, playing any musical instrument fluently, or whatever you said, is a more desirable outcome because I could maybe do that. But speaking any language fluently, what? So I know if somebody's talking shit about me in an elevator. Like I don't travel a lot. So
you would if you could speak every human language fluently.
I still wouldn't have a pile of money laying around.
You sure would. You could translate anything into anything.
And wait, read the phrase again.
Would you rather be able to speak any language fluently or play
any
every
language?
Yeah, any language that exists, even if it hasn't been invented yet. As soon as it's invented, you can speak
so
it fluently.
So aliens land tomorrow.
You can speak their language, yes.
That's a high-paying gig.
It is. So don't diss it.
No, I'm picking that right now.
All right. Any language. Which is a very interesting choice for a musician to make.
Yes, yeah, no, I mean,
given that choice,
I can fake it on most instruments,
right? I mean, once you know theory, you can play an instrument, right?
I mean
your technique isn't going to be perfect, but you can play it.
Yeah, like and also like it's like my ex-wife.
I mean, like in an Ian Anderson way, not necessarily a Lizzo way.
No, my ex-wife got frustrated with me because I think she goaded me to buy a mandolin as like a way to defeat me. And I bought a mandolin. It was a spur of the moment thing, but I got one very cheap. And then I kind of looked at it, and I thought about it for a minute. I found out what the tuning was, and I said, oh, this is just the high 4 of a guitar backwards. All right, I'm good.
Right.
And then I knew how to play mandolin, and she was furious.
Your second question, sir, is: would you rather be the funniest person in the room right now? You are. Would you rather be the funniest person in the room or the smartest person in the room? You might be both, actually.
Oh, come on.
But in any room, would you rather be the funniest person in the room or the smartest person in the room?
I'd rather be the funniest person in the room.
I completely agree with that choice.
Yeah. Because anybody can... I mean, first of all, this is a perception-based question, right? Because... and it's a pretty fucking arrogant question if you really want to lay it out, because how do you measure any of those things? As someone who has both been the funniest and the smartest person in the room in various times in my life or whatever, I can see that they're both equally defeating.
What's defeating about being the funniest person?
Just life is defeating. I mean, I'm just saying, like you're a target, you know. But
if you're a funny target, then you just dish it back as good as you get it.
Yeah, but well, anyway.
Humor will diffuse anything, is what I'm saying.
I enjoy humor a lot. I enjoy diffusing situations with humor a lot.
Third question: would you rather always have perfect weather or always have perfect health?
What is always have perfect? So I'm immortal now. I'm a fucking vampire.
Well, I didn't take it that way.
No, like yes, I would love to be a vampire.
Okay. I think that's kind of a stupid question, because who would choose weather over health?
Like yes. No, I'd rather be dead in the cold. Like, That's a
right.
really stupid
All right.
question. Fuck ChatGPT.
Yeah, but it's random.
It's not random. It's algorithm based. Go on.
No, it's random because I'm rolling for
Fair.
which question
Fair,
to ask
fair,
you.
fair.
All right, because I've got 30 of them,
That's
and
a
I'm only
lot.
going to ask you 5.
Right.
Question number 4. Would you rather live in a world where everyone has to tell the truth, or in a world where people can lie but you always know when they are? That's a little elaborate for a would
Veto.
you rather. You're going to veto that one? All right, I'll roll again.
It's a moot point because the thing is, nobody wants the truth, and everybody knows when they're being lied to. So I feel like I already live in that world.
Yeah, I agree with your statement that people think they want the truth and they generally don't.
1.
Let's get lighter.
You rolled a 1 and a 30 on a
did.
boulder tonight. That's pretty impressive.
I did. Here's the classic question. Would you rather be able to fly or be invisible?
Invisible.
Why?
Because I could steal more shit that way.
I used to say never trust someone who says invisible to that question. And then 2 of my all-time best friends, you and my other best friend, shout out to Scott in Pennsylvania, said invisible. His reasoning was, because he also trains as a ninja, and his reasoning was that he would be able to help people. I don't know.
Here's the deal. You start flying, somebody's shooting you down.
That's probably true. I never thought of that one.
Having flight without invisibility is stupid.
Okay. Once again, Damon's ability to cut down to the essential
I'm just saying,
has shown
if you
itself.
start seeing a motherfucker fly up in the sky, what's going to happen?
Somebody's going to shoot at it.
Somebody's going to either fucking shoot you down or you're going to land and get ET'd.
All right. You heard it here first, folks. Final question in our QA round. Would you rather have a... Are these all would you rather? I asked for hypothetical questions. And
You know,
all would you rather.
GPT is unreliable for podcast material. I have several podcasts.
That's why I had stuff prepared, but my phone died.
Or
So
maybe fucking charge your phone.
I will next time. But you don't want to use digital things at all. Next time I'm gonna have to come with a note.
No, this is fine. This is an appropriate use of technology.
All right. Last question. Would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button for your life? I think that's a stupid question.
I would like the pause button, please.
Okay.
I could steal more shit that way.
All right. Back to piracy, as always. It always comes around to yar. We're going to issue our listener challenge. At the end of every episode, we will issue a listener challenge. And the one I came up with today is transparently self-serving. Your listener challenge is to make a list of 12 friends. Take that list, you go to random.org on that list randomizer, just like we did with the instruments. You're going to randomize that list. You're going to roll 2 6-sided dice, and you take that many people off the top of the list and tell those friends to listen to this podcast. Yeah, like I said,
you were gonna say that.
transparently self-serving. But
But
if you like what you heard and you want it to continue, we need to develop listeners. That's just the reality of a podcast. So
my
please,
user challenge is, if you enjoyed this podcast, listen to another one.
that's a good one. If you enjoyed this podcast, listen to another one of this, like another episode of this,
Another episode of this
show.
podcast. Yeah, like
But that doesn't have anything random in it. Like the listener challenge has to have randomness for
us
them
having
too.
a listener is pretty fucking random to begin with.
Yeah, but we need to give them something random
Okay.
to do.
The random listener challenge is masturbate in a strange place.
That is not the listener challenge. That is definitely not the unless you like make a list of 6 places.
Yep.
And roll for a random place, as long as it's legal to do so.
No.
Like don't put like in the middle of the aisle at Walmart on your list, please. Right. Or actually, that would be great, like publicity. If somebody like got in the news and said they listened to this crazy podcast, then people would start listening the hell out of this podcast.
And that's self-serving. No. These are interesting theories to apply to life. I mean, it was funny. I was talking to my friend Wyatt earlier today about that trip to New Orleans that you're not coming on, and I suggested that we do that. That we actually do not have any schedule, any plan, any agenda, that we just make lists of things that we might like to do.
Oh, yeah.
And we roll for it constantly. And he was down.
Awesome. That is
Yeah.
random reality in a nutshell right there.
And also, it's, you know what? It's also, I fucking hate having an agenda on vacation.
Yeah.
Like, especially if I'm having fun what I'm doing.
Right.
And then somebody's like, it's 4 o'clock. It's time to go to the aquarium. You know, no, I'm getting drunk with these trannies. Like, this is great.
Okay. That's about all we have on the agenda for today. Please do one of the 2 listener challenges we gave you. Email us at youraleatoricreality@gmail.com to let us know how it went. And please do keep listening. I'm going to leave you with a random quote.
Go fuck yourself.
No, I'm one that I've actually generated with a random quote generator. And we have a quote from Thomas Aquinas. The things that we love tell us what we are. Thanks and peace out.